To the Absaroka by B.N. Rundell. Narrated by Scott Miller. 1. Cabin. Awakened early by a lazy but insistent owl that couldn't find his mate by echoing his hooting throughout the small pine-frame valley, Jeremiah stretched to his full height and looked down on the still form of his wife, Laughing Waters. With a smile on her still sleeping face, he wondered what she was dreaming to put such a look of contentment on what he thought was the most beautiful face he had ever seen. Even as he stepped to the coals of the previous night's fire to stir it to flame, he marveled at his good fortune to have this woman as his life-mate. He never imagined the depth of love he felt for her, and his amazement that she returned every bit of that affection. The growing light from the smokeless fire shared its glow with the towering ponderosa pine that framed the familiar clearing. This was the place that harbored the grave of his old friend and mentor Ezekiel, also known as Buffalo Thunder, the man that rescued Jeremiah as a youth and reared him to manhood. It was from Ezekiel that he gained his knowledge of the mountains, and more than that, every aspect of character and integrity that he possessed he'd learned from the big escaped slave. It was here, in this clearing, and in the shadow of the mountain that the hard lessons were learned. Now, looking toward the towering granite and at the base of the mountain, he remembered the cabin that was their home when they were away from the Arapaho village. It was just over yonder, down that trail to the creek, where they labored together, extracting the gold dust that was to enable Jeremiah to fulfill the promise made to Ezekiel, the promise to free his family from the bondage of slavery, a promise fulfilled. As his gaze returned to the base of the mountain, he admired his handiwork of the new cabin rising from the ashes of the old, and hoped he would be able to instill in his nephew the same values and character. Remembering the deathbed promise he made to his sister to raise Caleb to be a man, he felt the responsibility heavy on his shoulders. He was continually surprised at the boy and his many talents, especially when it came to his mimicry of every animal of the woods. To be able to duplicate the call of every bird and animal was amazing to Jeremiah. And the boy had grown so much in the past 2 years. He was just over shoulder height to Jeremiah and was filling out like a man at only 12 years.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?